And that's Malibu's finest. It's a great story. Bullshit. But great. You should seriously consider becoming a screenwriter. What in the actual fuck?
Good evening, Johnny Cage.
Oh boy, where do I even begin with this one? The Acolyte has quickly become one of the most hated TV shows of this year, to the point where not even die-hard Star Wars fans care to watch it. It's not new to say that Star Wars has been going downhill for a long while now. And it seems that all of the horrible decisions that Lucasfilm and Disney have made over the years has finally reached its boiling point. And now every new Star Wars announcement is met with a sense of hesitation. It's gotten so bad that whenever there was an actual good Star Wars show, well, nobody watched it. And now it's become a majority opinion to just ignore anything new from Star Wars. The Acolyte is a very interesting type of terrible, where while you're watching it, all of the horrible decisions made come flying at you. But then, once it's over, you almost immediately forget what just happened. And when the negative press and constructive criticism came crashing down on the Acolyte, what did they do? They blamed the fans, because as we all know, that always works out so well. The pushback from the showrunners is so incredibly horrible, narcissistic, and tone-deaf that it's honestly more fun to discuss than the actual show. Like how the main actress responded to the backlash by putting out a music video in which she demonstrates movement that more closely resembles a twitching corpse than a dance. This is a new low for Star Wars that I didn't think was achievable, and yet, here we are. So allow me to explain the pain and suffering I endured as we dive into The Acolyte. The story follows... Honestly, if I described the story, it would take up half the video, so if you want a description of the story, I highly recommend you check out Pitch Meeting's video. I think he did a pretty good job explaining everything wrong with this plot, but for simplicity's sake, there's a girl who's accused of killing a Jedi, except it's not her, it's her sister, and now she has to track her sister down. Let's start with the only positive I have for this show, which is the fight choreography. After seeing the horrible fight scenes in other shows like Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was refreshing to see fights that actually flowed well. But even this one positive gets drowned out in the end, where the fight scenes get really stupid. The characters are possibly the worst ever created in the Star Wars universe, and the acting isn't much better, aside from that one guy from Squid Game, who deserves to be in something way better than this. The visuals are all dark and washed out, which isn't very appealing to look at, and the costumes and makeup looks more like a Star Wars fan's OC rather than an actual canon design. The plot is one of the most incompetent I have ever seen for a TV show, with such an indescribable amount of plot holes and inconsistencies that all relies on coincidences and characters somehow being dumber than Kathleen Kennedy after being appointed to any project. A big selling point for this show was the fact that it's the first Star Wars product set during the High Republic era, which is set before the prequels and is essentially Disney showing a giant middle finger to the Old Republic era, which is very clear, especially considering the nightmare that's happening with the KOTOR remake. The other big quote-unquote selling point of this show is that it was going to be adding depth to the Star Wars universe by making the lines between the Jedi and the Sith more blurry, which is an idea that immediately got booed off the stage. Just the notion of trying to add depth to a series as black and white as Star Wars just seems like a fool's errand, and ends up appealing to no one. The other piece of Star Wars media that's been announced to be in the High Republic era is the game that got announced a while ago called Star Wars Eclipse, which is being developed by David Cage's studio, which instantly sucked all possible hype this game could have had. And now, I'm somehow even less hyped for this game after watching this god-awful show. The sad part of this whole thing is that this show is so incredibly horrible, but that should mean it's at least fun to talk about. But it's not. It's just not worth the effort anymore. Just a few years ago, I would have said that I hate the state that Star Wars is in. But now, I just don't even care anymore. I've moved on, and according to Disney Plus statistics and fan response, I feel like others will soon move on as well. In summary, The Acolyte is a special kind of disaster that appeals to no one, upsets everyone, and soon won't cross anyone's minds. Disney has already begun damage control by announcing the cancellation of Season 2, as well as removing all merchandise from the store pages. Meanwhile, the crew behind the Acolyte continues to point fingers and make fools of themselves online. Who knows? Maybe future Star Wars projects will actually be good, but at this point, the damage has been done, and I think it'll take quite a lot to turn this franchise around. But I think we all know that won't be happening anytime soon. That's all I got for now. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified for whenever I make a new video. The next review should be South Park Snow Day, so if you're interested in that, or interested in supporting the channel more, then turn on notifications and check out my other videos. Okay, that's it. Bye.